So, hi, welcome everyone, and welcome to people who are virtual as well. That is, people on YouTube, people watching on YouTube. Um, so, traditionally, I mentioned this a few times before, but uh, according to my teacher Trisha Yu, who went actually to China and lived there and also in Taiwan. The way that this was taught, and by this I mean Qigong or Tai Chi, was in silence. And you simply showed up and you joined the group and you stood in the back and you didn't say anything. And the teacher didn't say anything. And the students didn't say anything. You just watched and imitated. Um, and this is traditional. And I think one of the reasons for this is because sort of the fundamental um, case for Taoism is says that there's all these teachings, um, but the words are the problem. so so the words and the concepts and the thinking is what we create that is actually an impediment to awakening. So and so this is kind of crazy, from our point of view, because if you go to a Tibetan uh, monastery practice center, there's like 35,000 pages of sutras and commentaries, and this is all these words, right? So uh, I'm reading this book about the origins of Chan Buddhism and Taoism, and the author's talking about the original writing, which was pictographs. Okay, so they didn't have an alphabet. So the way they got the words and therefore the concepts was from nature directly. Okay, so for instance, the pictogram for mind is two mountains and the sky and a tiger that's in the sky, taking up the whole sky. So that's mind. So they didn't think this up. They sort of observed it. And so the mountains, that's that's the figure for stability. So instead of the word stability, you just draw a mountain. You see what I mean? So it's completely direct. Stability is a mountain, okay, or a rock. So spaciousness, sort of the opposite of formlessness, is sky. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? Really, that's so. What's the tiger? And that's the interesting question, because a tiger obviously isn't there in the sky. But what does a tiger mean? Well, a tiger means energy. Okay. So it's the stability of spaciousness with energy. Okay. So in a sense, the sky and the mountains and everything is conscious. That's what the energy is. It's conscious. So if you read anything, about, from Buddhism or these sutras or ancient texts or whatever, and it mentions mind, we actually have no idea what they're talking about. Okay. But this is much closer. They're talking about incredible stability that is form, mountains. What's more stable than a mountain? So they're talking about mountains, and they're talking about complete spaciousness and incredible energy, and that's mind. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're going to do a fair amount of our time together today. We're going to do in silence. So I want to get my words out there first, and so you can like forget about them when we're when we're doing these practices. But this just points to the origins of this Qigong, because it's about the quality of energy that they're depicting as a tiger or as a dragon or as any number of animals that they use to depict energy. So when we're meditating, and in the Buddhist tradition, you're meditating, a Zen tradition, and you can touch into or go into this space of openness, and that's good because it's formless. And so what the Taoist says, that's original mind. Okay, so we can be in that, but the difference between that and the sky is that there's this dragon. There's this life force energy. The sky isn't just air that looks blue or whatever. It's alive. Everything is alive. So the modern scientists are just kind of discovering this, and they call it panpsychism, which is the theory that there is consciousness in everything. And the Taoists have been saying that for 5,000 years. Right? So, and so this is the practice of that. Okay, so when we start with form, standing, the body moving, form, we start with form, and then as we practice, we move more into this kind of expanded state, this sort of boundless state. And then that spaciousness, that's what's getting close to the Tao. It's not the same, but it's getting close. What the Tao is that within that spaciousness, there's this incredible energy that takes all these forms. Does that make sense? Maybe? So it's excluding nothing. So if we say that we're going to go into spaciousness, we're going to have an awakened mind, we're just going to exist in spaciousness, you can't drive a car if that's where you are at. You can't have a conversation. You can't take care of children. You can't function in the world in that completely formless mind state. You can't do it. And so beyond that is, well, the entire world is that. And so then now, you can just function as you normally would. Taoists, they would have families, get married, men and women, and plenty of women who were involved, and you'd live your life. You wouldn't have to let go of the day-to-day world. So wow, crazy. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we'll go into the morning Qigong routine, which most of you pretty much know, so I don't have to say anything. And if you don't know it, then just follow. It's not hard. And we'll do that in silence. Okay, and then we'll move into our sitting practice. Any comments or questions about it? Somebody put something in the chat here. Zoe says, like indigenous cultures say, there is consciousness in everything. Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because they're in touch with it. They lived in the natural world, and we do too, actually, but we're also a few steps beyond it in some ways. But yeah, that's exactly right. This is shamanic teaching. These practices are shamanic. And they're also, they're not just shamanic, okay? There are pitfalls in shamanism too that have to do with superstition and all kinds of things. So they are shamanic, but they're also expanded beyond that. So thank you for that comment. Yeah. All right. So yeah. And so Saturday morning, we'll have our retreat. I'm psyched. Yeah. And the weather's going to be bad. So that's good. Okay. All right, let's change the view here. Speaker. You know, if you're familiar with this breathing earth qigong, if you've done this a while, warm up how you want to warm up. You know, if you want to do this, if you want to do this, you know, if you want to whatever, you know, whatever you want to do is fine. Um, you know, when I'm going to do, you know, practice, you know, I'll warm up different ways. There's not, it's not even warm up. It's actually qigong, but um, do whatever you need to do. You know, if your shoulders are a little tight, you know, then add that. You know, whatever you need to do to let go. So whatever it is that you do, though, um, it should have to do with um, grounding. Um, that is inhabiting the body, inhabiting the senses, and sort of dropping the attention down. And so, you know, it's earth, earth, human, heaven, or earth, human, sky. So you start out with earth. You start out by going down. And if your mind is real nervous, if it's busy, if there's a lot going on, then really do what you're doing with a lot of vigor to quiet the mind. But we want to be orienting downwards, heaviness, mountains. Some teachers will say that the human body is like a battery that has a positive and a negative pole. So the negative pole's down in the earth, positive pole's up the head, and we always start with the earth. Okay, we haven't done bowing to the directions for a few times, so it's a wonderful way to orient to your senses, to your environment. Now, before we do that, we want to check our posture and our alignment. And the stillness. So when the body is still, then we can feel the movement of the breath, movement of the heart. We can feel the warmth of the body and the tingling. And so we're here, we're present. And so if you know which way east is, that's traditionally begin with the east, but as long as we do this 4 times. So the east is where the sun arises, so that's the beginning. It's birth. Then we turn to the south. Wait for the out breath and then bend at the waist. And then the west. And some of the seasons, it'd be spring, summer, fall, and then winter is north. And it can also be stages of life, winter being old age. And then back to the alignment, the stillness. So, reaching up above. So that's the sky. Below, this is the earth, the mountains. And then, so within, so now we're in touch with the energy in the body. It's a tiger. And we're in touch with the ancestral chi and the lower dantian, connection to the earth with one hand. With the other hand, we're in touch with our relationships to in this realm, this world, the heart. Okay. Okay, good. And then as we're going to loosen up, relax, we're just going to start at the top. And again, we're going to move down. So head and neck. And then that'll naturally go into shoulders. And you can start these movements kind of small and then make them bigger. So one teacher described this this shoulder rolls as opening the chest and then opening the back. So the arms aren't doing anything. They're just hanging here. It's just opening, leaning back a little, and then opening the back. And we're so oriented to the front, we tend to think of this as opening the front and then closing the front, but that's not it. So it's opening the front and then opening the back. Opening the front, opening the back. And so, I'm often reminding us to be aware of the back, of what's behind us, because that helps us to align. If we're always focusing in front of us, we tend to lean forward. Physically and in our lives, we're always grasping for the next thing. The present isn't good enough. We need something more. We need the next thing. And so that can be addressed simply by opening the back. Now our mind, our attention is is it behind us? Oh, okay, now we straighten up a little more. Oh yeah, we have a back. There's a lot behind us. Okay. So we're here, we're in the present moment, which is open front, open back, open front, open back. And so there's this right in between, there's the present moment and the postural alignment. Okay. And again, with this one, so this is a movement to the front. So we're opening the heart with the breath. So with the hands and the body, we're opening the chest. Okay. But then as we go down, we're opening the back. And the pranayama, the breath part of this is, so you can take the in breath in through the heart, from the front, and the out breath is shooting out the back of the heart. So we're breathing air, we're breathing energy in through the heart, filling the body, and we're breathing it out the back of the heart. So with the arms, we're giving attention to the front, and we're using our mind to give attention to the back. So suddenly, this isn't just a stretching exercise. This is the whole body breathing. Let's do a couple more. Okay, very good. All right, and just rocking the pelvis. Okay, so we're arching the lower back and then flattening the lower back. And we really want to keep the pelvis loose to avoid back problems, lower back problems, and for balance. And then the second level of that is to circle the hips. And you want to do this clockwise and counterclockwise. And I can't tell you how important this is for balance and flexibility, particularly as we age. Okay, so once we've done that, now we'll move down to the feet. And before we do the one legged poses, we want to reestablish through the sense of feeling. We want to reestablish this posture, vertical. And we can feel that, feel the spine, we can feel it. And we also add the mind, and we visualize this vertical pole or laser beam of light column from the center of the earth up through, or including the body, out the top of the head up into the sky. We want to feel this and visualize it. Okay, and now since this is the balance, what we're going to be doing is just for a little bit, just to drop the attention down the body and down through the feet, and feel and imagine that you're a tree and you have roots going into the ground. So we're not just imagining these roots, we're feeling them. So the same way you can feel your fingers, feel your toes, you imagine feeling these roots. How would they feel? And we can do that. This is extended sensory perception. So how it feels to be rooted to the earth. Okay, now that we have all this, okay, now we'll take and shift the weight to one side and bend that knee a little. Let the unweighted foot, let the heel come up, toe is touching the ground. And then if you're ready, it's optional. You can lift that unweighted foot and you can use your mind, visualize this central line that goes down now through the foot. Okay, and then we'll touch the other foot down, and now we're double weighted. Now the line is in between the feet. Then we shift, bend that other knee, shift so the line is above that foot now. And when you're stable and you've got it, then you can lift the other one. Okay. And then if you study Tai Chi at all, there's all kinds of one-legged poses, which are fine, you can do, or just the main thing is being comfortable, balanced, rooted on one foot. And if you just do this once a week, regularly, it'll have a profound effect on your ability to keep your balance. Okay, good. So you notice, so starting top, going all the way down. Now, we want to remember the three elements of the practice: body, breath, and mind. So we access the body by feeling it. Okay, and then we access the breath by feeling it. And then deep within the breath, there's the heartbeat. Maybe you can access that. Okay. And mind is mind in the Taoist sense that I first described. So a body, breath, and mind. So we can see that as a concentration or intention, awareness, consciousness. And we can be aware of the mind in the same way that we're aware of the breath and the body. We can feel it. There's actually a sensation when a thought arises. So body, breath, and mind. Okay. Very good. And now we'll go into the 7 movements of the morning routine. If you know it, just follow. But I'm not going to talk. See if you can see how these movements begin from the earth and then begin to move up and out. So just checking in with the posture. Drop the chin a little if you need to. So we have the right and the left brought together into the center. We have the earth below and the sky above, the human connecting. There's the rhythm of the breath. And within that, the faster rhythm of the heart. There's the tingling sensation in the hands and in the body. There's the warmth generated by the body expanding out. And there is an awareness present of all of this. With the out breath, we can send that awareness out in all directions. Connecting with all that is. In breath, we bring the outer world in. Out breath, we radiate out. Front, back, left, right, up, down. The aliveness in the body is not separate from the aliveness in the world. Okay, very good. Okay, let's go ahead now and bring up our stool or cushion. Continue with the sitting portion. Okay, if you have a sitting meditation practice, doing these movements and so on beforehand, for most people, enables us to kind of seamlessly move into a sitting practice. Okay, now the body, in a sense, is the mountains, the two mountains. Okay? The body, it comes from the earth, 100%. It's like a mountain. Okay, the mind is like the sky, spacious and empty. And the tiger is the life force energy in the mountain, in the sky, in the tiger, in the body, in the mind, everywhere. So with the out breath, we can expand from within the body out in all directions. With the in breath, we come from all directions into the body. And then we repeat. So the breathing is the coming and going of the air. The opposites working with each other, in breath, out breath. Same with the heart, beating. The body is vibrating. Where there's heat, there's vibration. That which is feeling this body is the empty sky. Sensations of the body arise moment to moment in the space of the mind. Arise and vanish. Thoughts arise in the mind and vanish. Form is born from spaciousness, boundlessness, and dissolves back into it. All fabricated reality is impermanent. All forms are impermanent, be they physical or non-physical, that is, physical forms or thought forms. They arise and pass away. Just like the breath. Let's drop our attention into the belly and find the still point at the end of the out breath. The belly moves with the breath, but there's a point where it's still. The end of the out breath. Stillness. The in breath arises from stillness, recedes back into stillness. Find the still point in the chest. At the end of the out breath, there's a still point. The in breath arises from that. And dissolves back into it. Find the still point in the brain. A thought or a perception will arise from that stillness, dissolve back into it. And so let's, with the next out breath, extend our attention beyond the body with the out breath. So breathing out through all the pores in the skin, so that our consciousness is bigger than the body. The body's still present, we can still feel it. And there's a presence in which the body arises. With each out breath, expand the presence. Well, the body maybe seems somewhat small in the midst of this vast space. You can still feel it. And there's this vastness around it. The life force energy in the body is also in the space. All around, front, back, left, right, up, down. And if you like, you can smile a little bit. You know, as we return to the space completely, that expanded consciousness is always present. It never goes away. So if we wiggle our toes now, move our fingers a little bit, move our bodies, still there. We truly are connected to everything. And everything is conscious in some way. So we can experience that no separation. And we can also wiggle our own toes. So go ahead and move a little bit. And certainly we're separate. No doubt about it. Everything about our culture reinforces that. And it's also the opposite is also true. We are intimately connected. And both truths coexist. So, okay, very good. And let's go ahead and do our closing. So on the count of three, we'll clap our hands one time. 1, 2, 3. Make heat, and we'll massage the eye sockets, temples, jaw. And massage the ears. Comb back your hair if you want to. Okay, and then make loose fists, tap your kidneys. Massage your kidneys. Okay. Thank you so much for your presence, for your practice, for being here for each other, and for being present for all those in your life. Your practice benefits all beings. And so if you would like to vanish into the ether, that's fine. And if you'd like to stay for questions and comments for a few minutes, that's fine too. Enjoy your evening. See you. Yes, see you Saturday morning. Okay. Hi,
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. That was nice.
Mm.
Just came off of our retreat last week.
Oh, what was that?
The with Flint Sparks, the
Oh,
open door.
mm-hmm.
We held our retreat at Holy Wisdom.
Oh, uh-huh. Oh, I didn't realize you were part of that saga.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
for
Oh
quite a
yeah. Oh
while.
yes, you told me. You told me this. I remember now. We talked about this. So how
Yeah.
long was the retreat?
Wednesday night, Wednesday evening through Sunday at noon, and then we had a Jukai ceremony in which 9 of our members for the first time. It's the first time we had that ceremony. It's where they formally take the vows uh, of the precepts, all of them, and they have spent about a year sewing their rakasus, the
Mm-hmm.
robe, the small,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was quite impressive. It was really beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That was
Yeah,
Sunday afternoon.
yeah. I took Rakasu back in, or excuse me, Jukai back in 2011. Must have been. Yeah. Oh, interesting. I wasn't aware that Flint Sparks offered that.
Well, he was just oh, what do they call that? When they he's an entrusted um he is an official entrusted teacher. And so well Suzanne, he was able to um do a ceremony with Suzanne, so she is now um our teacher.
Hmm.
He's our he's our guide, our spiritual guide. And so he comes and does the retreats. He comes once a year now because he's in Molokai, and then does the fall retreat online.
So this was in person at Holy Wisdom.
This was in person at Holy Wisdom. It
Oh,
was
that's
it was actually both. Some people, there were about 12 people or so, 12 or 14 online.
well, that's wonderful. So I probably know some of the people who took Jukai.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, 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 the Rakasu. Mm-hmm.
So that was our first formal in our saga that we
Mm-hmm.
did that. And
Mm-hmm.
I had I had hoped to, and then I signed up. I expressed my interest in doing it. I was intending to, and didn't realize I had passed the deadline for doing it before I spoke my intention. And it was too late because it took a lot of preparation for the woman, Anne, who taught the who led the sewing and taught everyone, helped everyone to do it.
Did they make the lineage charts and
Um, Everyone was told to do their own lineage chart, their family, their, oh, not just family, but people who had an impact on their life,
mhm. Yeah,
including everyone.
yeah.
What was your part of that?
Oh, well, I went through Joan Halifax at Upaya Zen Center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and in order to become a chaplain, you have to take Jukai. That you do that
Uh-huh.
halfway through the process. It's a like a 27-month process, but maybe it's longer now.
Wow.
But so that was like after that was after about yeah, about halfway. And you do, you sew the rakasu and you go through the whole ceremony, and it's very
Mhm.
powerful. It's really, really incredible. Changed my life. Um,
This, the
so
ceremony did change your life. The whole process, not
the
just
whole
that.
process, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The whole process. It was very powerful. And I do, I mean, I lead prison, I have prison sanghas. So we
You
have
have more than one. You said
three.
sanghas.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In different prisons
Right.
or
Mhm.
in okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the fun thing about it is that, well, like, so at Oshkosh, we have a big Buddhist group in Oshkosh Correctional, and we have 5 or 6 people who come from the outside. They come from the outside to come into the prison to go to do the services.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't that
Wow.
amazing? Yeah, it's called, the name of the sangha is the Gateless Gate. So, yeah, people come into the prison to get on the path of liberation.
That is really
Isn't that wild? Yeah.
yeah, my God.
So the sangha it's for the inmates, of course, but it's also for the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really amazing. I
It's,
love
yeah,
it.
it's great. Yeah, it's
Can I
really good.
come sometime?
Well, you could, but you'd have to jump through a lot of hoops to be allowed in. This is a prison, so they don't let anybody come in without going through all the security procedures and everything. So,
So
yeah,
people jump through a lot of hoops just to be present for the Sangha and meet with you, sit with you.
right.
Are they mostly family of the prisoners?
No, 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 none of them are. I don't even know if that would be allowed, but no, no, they're volunteers from the community, from the area.
Volunteers who work in the prison or
Well,
just volunteer to come to the Sangha?
they come. Well, we also do a meditation group there, a class,
Uh-huh.
so they come to that too. So they're involved in, and then we also do one-on-one meetings with inmates who are studying meditation and so on. So they're
Mhm.
volunteers who are coming in to be part of that, you know, in some way. One of them's a meditation teacher, and another one's well, he's actually becoming a chaplain. He's co-teaching with me, and then there's other people who just want to be involved.
Mhm.
you know so the prison allows volunteers to come in,
Mhm.
particularly religious, what they call religious volunteers. They allow people to come in. Jehovah's Witnesses, for instance, has a huge presence in prisons.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they're huge, kind of. Yeah, anyway, but yeah, so they're kind of our Buddhist group.
They're kind of a Buddhist group?
Well,
What do you mean?
yeah, they're under the auspices of the religion, because actually Wisconsin prisons are really very, very good in a lot of ways. And one of those ways is they really respect people's religious preferences. So
Mhm.
you can choose any one of 9 different religions if you're an inmate, and they allow you to go to services and to study and to have things. And so Buddhism is one of those 9. So you come in as you come in as part of that Buddhist group, as far as the Department of Corrections is concerned.
Mhm.
You're a religious volunteer. But there's other volunteers too. There's some who come in and, like, they have a dog program there where they train dogs,
Mhm.
so there's volunteers that come in and teach that, you know.
That's marvelous.
Yeah.
That's really a
It's
good program.
just like one city school. There are volunteers who come in and teach,
Mhm.
right? And so it's the same kind of thing in the prison.
So are these prisons that are local? They're close to Madison?
No, there aren't any prisons close to Madison. The
There,
closest,
there, there, there are holding centers though, aren't there? I thought
well,
there
there's
was some.
jails. There's county jails. Yeah,
So you have to travel.
yeah. Hmm.
How far do you travel?
Too far. So Oshkosh is 100 miles each way from my
Wow.
house. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And,
So,
and you
and
go every week?
well, we have services every week, but we have a local, as I was mentioning this, we have a local guy now who lives nearby and he goes in. I alternate with him. So I go in every other week.
Okay. And the
Yeah.
other places are how far away?
Well, Fox Lake is about an hour and 5 minutes.
That's
And
pretty far too, then.
yeah, and Columbia is about 55 minutes away, about an hour away. The
Wow.
prisons are located in kind of out of the way places generally. Not all of them. I mean, there's one in Green Bay, there's one in Oshkosh, but a lot of times they're kind of out in rural areas.
We just had seen the movie Just Mercy. I hadn't seen it
Oh
when it
man,
came out.
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we heard the story read on Chapter a Day
Oh, uh-huh.
actually a few years ago. Actually, I
Mm,
think they did that one a couple times and we
mm.
listened to it, and it's just such a powerful, real, true story.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's an amazing guy, and that's an incredible group they have there. Yeah, he's yeah. That movie was amazing. I thought it should have won all the Oscars. But I guess other people didn't agree with me, but I thought it was
Well,
good.
well, the acting was sure amazing. It was
Uh,
powerful.
yeah, I thought it was really good. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I mean, I'm kind of a prison chaplain, but I mean, I
For
do other stuff too. But that's sort of what I do.
how long have you been doing that?
9 years,
That's a long time.
about 9 years. Yeah, before that, I was doing hospice.
Uh,
So I'm kind of still peripherally involved in hospice. And every now and then people ask me to marry them too. So I do that or do a
mhm,
funeral or something like that. I do that
mhm.
too. I'm kind of the local guy who will do that stuff for you if you need to. Someone just contacted me just yesterday, in fact. They want to get married. So that's always fun.
I'll bet it is.
Yeah, that's the best.
And
So
you're just so joyful um, doing the Tai Chi. I mean the Qigong too.
yeah, and I've been doing that for a very long time. And that's just really central to all of this. Like when I was at Upaya, I was the Qigong teacher there for the chaplaincy people. And did a lot of Qigong for people there because they don't really know it. And it's really kind of obscure. A lot of people
Mhm.
don't really know. They've heard of Tai Chi, but they haven't really heard of Qigong. So I did that. But yeah, I started studying Qigong in 93. So that's 30 years.
Do you still practice Tai Chi?
You know, no, I don't. I don't.
And what is it that gra- that you gravitate toward the Qigong over the Tai Chi? Or was that a choice or
Yeah, it was a choice. When I used to teach Tai Chi for years,
huh?
um, but you really need a school to do it right. You need a place where people can come for years and years and years, and you can develop
Hmm.
other teachers, and
Hmm.
you need people who are very committed and willing to practice. It's not like Qigong in the sense that you have to learn it and do it right. You have to know how to do it and do it right. Qigong is much looser. It's much easier to teach it. It's much easier to do it. You got to practice Tai Chi for a year before you even, begin to get the form. So it's more structured. So it really needs a
Yeah.
It's wonderful, don't get me wrong, but it really needs a more structured environment in order for people to teach it and learn it.
And I like Tai Chi, and I forget it. I don't forget it, but I do forget it. Like, not like to the point where I can't remember what comes next.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could do the
Struct
form.
the
I could
structure.
do, yeah, I could do most of the form, and so if a couple of years ago I started to get back into it again, but the qigong is really part of my life, so that's really what I do.
And that's
Yeah,
what makes it much more valuable when it's a part of your life,
for
because
me, yeah,
it informs everything for you. I can tell that.
yeah, it does, it does. It really does.
I was thinking that even the few little students, scholars at one city that I work with, I need to start doing a little something with them just to give them something to do on their own when they need to, like, settle or focus or calm down from some upset or disappointment,
Yeah,
some breathing tech, something that they can do, or and to learn it by starting each of our sessions with it.
it's a great idea. Kids really respond to visualization. I mean, this is something I've found. If you want them to breathe, then you pretend that you're, I don't know, you pretend that you're a fish in the water. I don't know. You pretend you're a
Or
bird,
a
a
cloud
cloud.
growing
Yeah,
and
exactly.
expanding.
Yeah, I'm sure you could come up, but they really do. If they have a way to imagine it, it's you're sitting, imagine you're a mountain. That's kind of boring, but you know, I'm sure you could come up with ways to do it. And I know people have.
Well,
Jerry,
I'll try things and see what works with each of them.
do you know Jerry Gurman?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
the animal frolics.
there you go. So Jerry had spent a lot of time teaching children, teaching Qigong to children. I don't, maybe she could give you some advice.
And Don has been the one. We had a pair do head student with our sangha. Each year we have a head student, and Don and another Don Coleman and another woman in our sangha were the head students this
Hmm.
year. And Don and the other woman were very interested in form, and Don taught everyone Buddha hands. So
Oh,
whenever
sure. Yeah.
do you do that too?
Oh, I've taught with Don. I love Don. He's a good friend of mine. And yeah, yeah, I've done Buddha hands with him. Yeah.
So that would be really nice to keep that as part of our practice, to do it when we do our Sangha
Well, so this
sit on
this
Sunday.
this gets into a very long discussion, which I have to go, so I can't really get into. But let me just say that Qigong and Taoism, okay, is at the root of Zen. It's not separate. It is
Taoism isn't separate. It's not a different part.
no
You
Zen.
talk speak as if it's not, and I thought there were two schools, two
Yeah, that's
different.
what people think. So Zen is a Japanese word. It means meditation. Um, it's the translation of a Chinese word, Chan. Chan is Chan Buddhism. Chan is the integration of Indian Buddhism, okay, brought from India by Bodhidharma to
Mhm.
China, and it merged with Taoism, which was already there, and they called it Chan. So Taoism is like 50% of Zen Buddhism, but the Zen Buddhists forget that. They've lost it.
They
That's what I'm doing. I'm
have they
reconnecting that.
lost have they lost it, or do they just not speak of it?
They don't speak of it, and they've lost the Qigong completely. The Taoist teachings are woven into the Zen. They're in there. But most Zen scholars and Zen students, they've just studied the Zen from the culture, wherever it is, Japanese Zen or Vietnamese Zen or whatever Korean Zen, whatever the Zen is that they study. That's but they don't know the roots of it for the most part. And the roots of it are
Uh,
Taoist.
I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
it's not separate at all. It's one thing.
Well, thank you for enlightening me.
Yeah, well, I learned that when I learned that because for me it was a big problem. How can I be a Qigong practitioner and be a Taoist? Those are two different things, and it was driving me crazy until I had a conversation with Don Coleman. I had a conversation with Sherry Maples, and they said it's the same thing. I said,
Huh.
"What do you mean?" And then I started researching it, and that's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. There are not many Taoists around anymore. And then there are a few, but there's a lot of Zen people. So that's kind of my mission. Is I'm recombining, I'm reconnecting something that has been forgotten, but that is one thing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I guess maybe I need
More.
to talk about that a little bit more, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
let's
I teach this at all the Buddhist retreats, and I taught it at Upaya Zen Center, and people very much appreciate it, and they get it, and it's a really good way to learn the Dharma.
well, we call our practice our open door
Mhm.
as a we're working at trying to intending to be having a more an embodied practice.
Exactly.
And I think the having movement, having that awareness in the body, be so present, not just sitting there absolutely still
Right.
all the time, with where you're cutting your body off and
Yeah.
not being aware, but not being in your body.
Yeah.
But so we're impressing on that, working on that uh, all the time, trying to bring that more alive in our
Yeah.
practice.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Talk to Don about it. He'll tell you all about it.
I will, and I'm going to encourage so that it isn't just Don's thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that now that well, it was a year of service being the head student, but and now that that's come to a conclusion, there isn't a head student, but I'm hoping that we continue the practice that he brought to us during that year and
Yeah.
taught everyone to do. So we
Yeah.
keep on doing it.
Yeah.
And it may not be Don's place. He may not feel right about pushing it,
No,
you
probably
know.
not.
And so I'm going to be one of those pushing it gently,
Well,
nudging.
yeah, I've been trying. I'm glad Don's doing that because he had that school and everything, and then he started just fading from view, and I just said, no, 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 you can't do that. You have way too much experience and knowledge and wisdom, and you have to share that with the community. So I got him to do these retreats with me. This several years ago. We did Qigong retreats together until he got sick. In fact, he got sick the night before one of our retreats, and we had to
Oh
get a
my goodness.
replacement for him.
I didn't
But so,
realize.
yeah, so this was some years ago. But
Right.
yeah, he's my man.
Yeah, I love Don.
All right, Sandy, we'll see you.
Okay, thanks. It was delightful. With this
Okay.
conversation has been very delightful.